Goed, môre graad 11. Ekskuus dat ek julle nou nie vandag sien nie. Ek wil net gou vandag vir julle werk verduidelik so that you guys can carry on with homework. Excuse the noise at the back. I was doing this at school. Okay, right. So, first things first. Nature of the roots. These are the slides that you guys have in front of you now. We handed it out yesterday. Okay, so die aard van die wortels van 'n kwadratiese vergelyking. Nou, ons het gister gesê the nature of the roots, what we're actually talking about is the x values. Nee, die x waardes van die vergelyking, and if we've got a graph, it would be the x intercepts of the parabola. Okay, now sometimes we want to know what the nature of those roots is. Ons wil weet wat die aard van daai wortels is. Met ander woorde, is hulle reëel of nie reëel? Are they maybe rational or irrational? En dan ook, is die wortels gelyk? Met ander woorde, were both of them the same? Or were they unequal? Nee, was hulle ongelyk? Goed. So, please remember, and this is what you guys had in that investigation as well. You had to say, firstly, whether the root will be real or non-real. Nee? Nou onthou, real beteken hy's positief binne my vierkantswortel. Non-real or imaginary means it can't happen, and that is when we've got a negative number inside that square root. Now, you'll remember that the very last question in that investigation, we said, why can't something be rational and non-real? Now, if you had a look here, firstly, we choose between real and non-real. Nou, as hy nie reëel is, dan stop dit daar. Hy gaan niks verder nie. Jy gaan sien, hier is niks verder daar nie. Nee? But when it is real, then we can say, is that actually rational of is dit irrational? Okay, so wanneer dit nie reëel is, imaginary, it stops there. Nee, hy gaan niks verder nie. Maar as jou wortel reëel is, dan kan jy nog gaan kies tussen rational en irrational. Okay, goed, so, you guys know that we use the quadratic equation, nee, daai vergelyking. Nou sê ek hier vir jou, die aard van die wortels, met ander woorde, die oplossing, the solution for x, van 'n kwadratiese vergelyking word bepaal deur die waarde van die discriminant. Now, we mostly talk about delta. And when we talk about delta, you can also use that little triangle. Okay, goed. So, delta is met ander woorde, kyk gou heel bo aan die skerm hier. Delta is the part that is inside that square root. Why do we use that, or why do we specifically want to talk about delta? It is because delta, meaning b squared minus 4ac, is the part that's inside the root, en dit gaan bepaal of hy reëel of nie reëel, en miskien dan nou rational en irrational is. Okay, so that's why we talk about that part. Nou, as delta kleiner is as 0, if delta is less than 0, meaning it will be a negative number, nee? Dan is die wortels nie reëel. It's imaginary, nee? Because it can't happen. It's imaginary, it's imaginair. Okay. As delta groter is as 0, beteken dit hy's positief. Dan is jou wortels ongelyk en reël. So if it's just greater than 0, then it will not be equal to, but because it's positive, it will be real. Nee? But as delta gelyk is aan 0, if inside that square root you get 0 on the dot, dan weet jy dat jou wortels is gelyk, they're going to be equal, en hulle is reël. Okay? Obviously real because 0 is also seen, it's not negative inside the square root, so 0 would be for part of the positive part, if you want to see it like that. Okay, dan, as delta 'n volkome vierkant is, if it's a perfect square, meaning 9, 16, 36, nee? 'n volkome vierkant, dan is jou wortels rasionaal, nee? As delta nie 'n volkomme vierkant is nie, if it's not a perfect square, then your roots will be irrational and they will be unequal. Okay, now hierdie deel, this part on the right hand side of the screen, that you basically have to go and study. Nee, dit moet jy ken want hulle vra dit definitief vir jou. Okay. Goed, nou kom ons kyk net gou na wanneer ons 'n skets kry hoe dit lyk. B squared minus 4AC is greater than 0. Met ander woorde, delta is groter as 0. Met ander woorde positief, nee? Then it means that I will have two unequal real roots. Okay? As, second scenario, if delta is equal to 0, dan het ons gesê, gaan ons two equal real roots hê, nee? Nou dit beteken, jy sal sien jou parabool raak jou x-as net, nee? En omdat hy hom net een keer raak, dit is hoekom my wortels moes nou ook gelyk is, nee? So two equal real roots. Okay. If b squared minus 4ac, in other words delta, is less than 0, dan is hy mos nou negatief, nee? Dan beteken dit mos it's imaginary, it's got no real root. Hoekom? Want my skets sal jy sien lê ver bo my x-as. Met ander woorde, dit gaan nooit my x-as kan sny nie. And what are roots? Roots are the x-intercepts, nee? En omdat hierdie grafiek nooit die x-as gaan sny nie, gaan hy nooit wortels kan hê nie. Okay, so that's why it's no real root or non-real. Okay, goed. Laaste slide. Okay, ek gee vir jou die volgende. Nou sê ek vir jou, if we look at x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, dan beteken dit dat as ek vir delta gaan kry, ekskuus, hy gaan nou 'n bietjie vinnig. If I go get delta, meaning b squared minus 4ac, as ek gaan instel, b se waarde is mos 1, so meaning 1 squared, that gives me 1. Minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 2, en dit gee dan vir my plus 8. Nou 1 plus 8 is 9, nee? En 9 is groter as 0, meaning delta is greater than 0. And that means that we will have two real and unequal roots. Kyk gou wat is my wortels. Minus 2 en 1. Sien julle is ongelyk en hulle is reël, nee? Okay, ons kyk gou, daar sê hulle net ook vir jou, die wortels is ook rasionaal, want delta is 'n volkomme vierkant, nee? 9 was a perfect square, so they would also be rational. Right, second scenario, I'm giving you x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to 0. Ons gaan gou dieselfde stappe deurwerk. Okay, so delta would then be 16 minus 16. That gives me 0. Now, because delta is equal to 0, it means that we will have two real equal roots. So as jy op jou prentjie gaan kyk, that blue parabola, sal jy sien, it only cuts the x-axis once, meaning both my roots were equal to 2, so they were equal roots, nee? En hulle is ook reël. Goed. Dan die wortel is ook 'n volkomme vierkant, nee? 0 is perfect square, so the roots would also be rational. Okay, laaste enetjie. X kwadraat plus 6x plus 10 is gelyk aan 0. Ek dink wat ons hier kan doen is, die onderwyser kan net gou vinnig die video pause, en dan gou die leerders kans gee om gou self te gaan uitwerk wat is delta. And then once you know how much delta is, then you can go write down what would the roots be. Would there be roots? And if there's roots, would it be real? Rational, irrational, wat ook al, né? So pause net gou die video, laat hulle gou dit doen. As almal klaar is, dan kan jy weer aansit. Ok, ek neem aan almal van julle het nou gedoen. So, delta gaan wees 36 minus 40. In other words, it would be equal to minus 4. Now, because that's a negative number, it will be no real roots, right? This non-real, imaginary. Okay. And what would it look like? Kyk gou daai rooi grafiek. Hy hang in die lug. Nee, met ander woorde, it's not touching my x-axis at all, so there will be no roots. As ons hierdie oplossing kry, kry ons minus 6 plus minus, en dan sien jy in jou vierkantswortel is 'n minus 4, and that is why it was not real. Okay. Good, that is it. I'm going to ask your teacher, on my desk, there's a page with homework for nature of roots. Heel bo aan die bladsy is daar 'n klein blokkie. Okay? Julle gaan net vir my doen, nommer 1 tot nommer 3, wat binne die blokkie is. Okay, so only that block at the top, that's going to be your homework. The rest we will do on Monday. Julle moet 'n lekker naweek hê. Bye bye.